The Maracanã Stadium, officially Estádio Jornalista Mário Filho ʻmaɾi.u, is a football stadium in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. The stadium is part of a complex that includes an arena known by the name of Maracanãzinho, which means the Little Maracanã in Portuguese. Owned by the Rio de Janeiro state government, it is, as is the Maracanã, a neighborhood where it is located, named after the Rio Maracanã, a now canalized river in Rio de Janeiro. The stadium was opened in 1950 to host the FIFA World Cup, in which Brazil was beaten 2-1 by Uruguay in the deciding game. Since then, it has mainly been used for football matches between the major football clubs in Rio de Janeiro, including Flamengo, Fluminense, Botafogo and Vasco da Gama. It has also hosted a number of concerts and other sporting events. The total attendance at the final game of the 1950 FIFA World Cup was 199,854, making it the world's largest stadium by capacity. After its 2010-13 renovation, the rebuilt stadium currently seats 78,838 spectators, making it the largest stadium in Brazil and the second in South America after Estádio Monumental in Peru. It was the main venue of the 2007 Pan American Games, hosting the football tournament and the opening and closing ceremonies. The Maracanã was partially rebuilt in preparation for the 2013 FIFA Confederations Cup and the 2014 World Cup. It was also selected as the venue for the opening and closing ceremonies of the 2016 Summer Olympics and Paralympics, with the main track and field events taking place at the Estádio Olímpico João Havelange. Name. The official name of the stadium, ʻmaɾi.u, was given in honor of an old Pernambucan journalist, who was a strong vocal supporter of the construction of the Maracanã. The stadium's popular name is derived from the Maracanã River, whose point of origin is in the jungle-covered hills to the west, crossing various barrows of Rios Zona Norte, such as Tijuca and São Cristóvão. Via drainage canal which features sloping sides constructed of concrete. Upon flowing into the Canal de Mangue, it empties into Guanabara Bay. The name Maracanã derives from the indigenous Tupi-Guarani word for a type of parrot which inhabited the region. The stadium construction was prior to the formation of the later Maracanã, a neighborhood that was once part of Tijuca. History. Construction. After winning the right to host the 1950 FIFA World Cup, the Brazilian government sought to build a new stadium for the tournament. The construction of Maracanã was criticized by Carlos Lacerda, then congressman and political enemy of the mayor of the city, General Angelo Mendes de Moraes, for the expense and for the chosen location of the stadium, arguing that it should be built in the West Zone neighborhood of Jacarepaguá. At the time, a tennis stadium stood in the chosen area. Still, it was supported by journalist Mário Filho, and Mendes de Moraes was able to move the project forward. The competition for the design and construction was opened by the municipality of Rio de Janeiro in 1947, with the construction contract awarded to engineer Humberto Menescal, and the architectural contract awarded to 7 Brazilian architects: Michael Feldman, Waldir Ramos, Rafael Galvo, Oscar Valdeterro, Orlando Azevedo, Pedro Paulo Bernardes Bastos, and Antonio Diaz Carneiro. The first cornerstone was laid at the site of the stadium on the 2nd of August 1948. With the first World Cup game scheduled to be played on the 24th of June 1950. This left a little under 2 years to finish construction. However, work quickly fell behind schedule, prompting FIFA to send Ottorino Baratti, the head of the Italian FA, who had organized the 1934 World Cup, to help in Rio de Janeiro. A workforce of 1,500 constructed the stadium, with an additional 2,000 working in the final months. Despite the stadium having come into use in 1950, the construction was only fully completed in 1965. Opening and 1950 FIFA World Cup. The opening match of the stadium took place on 16 June 1950. Rio de Janeiro All-Stars beat São Paulo All-Stars 3-1. Didi became the player to score the first ever goal at the stadium. While the major part of the stadium was finished, it still looked like a construction site. It lacked toilet facilities and a press box. Brazilian officials claimed it could seat over 200,000 people, while the Guinness Book of World Records estimated it could seat 180,000 and other sources pegged capacity at 155,000. What is beyond dispute is that Maracanã overtook Hampden Park as the largest stadium in the world. Despite the stadium's unfinished state, FIFA allowed matches to be played at the venue, and on 24 June 1950, the first World Cup match took place, with 81,000 spectators in attendance. In that first match, for which Maracanã had been built, Brazil beat Mexico with a final score 4-0, with ๊maɾi.u becoming the first scorer of a competitive goal at the stadium with his 30th minute strike. ๊maɾi.u had 2 goals in total, plus 1 each from Baltazar and ʒoʁnaʻliʃt<hesitation>. The match was refereed by Englishman George Reader. 5 of Brazil's 6 games at the tournament were played at Maracanã. Eventually, Brazil progressed to the final round, facing Uruguay in the match that turned out to be the tournament-deciding match on 16 July 1950. Brazil only needed a draw to finish as champion, but Uruguay won the game 2-1, shocking and silencing the massive crowd. This defeat on home soil instantly became a significant event in Brazilian history, being known popularly as the Maracanãzinho. The official attendance of the final game was 199,854, with the actual attendance estimated to be about 210,000. In any case, it was the largest crowd ever to see a football game, a record that is highly unlikely to be threatened in an era when most international matches are played in all-seater stadiums. At the time of the World Cup, the stadium was mostly grandstands with no individual seats. Stadium completion and post-World Cup years. Since the World Cup in 1950, Maracanã Stadium has mainly been used for club games involving 4 major football clubs in Rio: Vasco, Botafogo, Flamengo and Fluminense. The stadium has also hosted numerous domestic football cup finals, most notably the Copa do Brasil and the Campeonato Carioca. On 21 March 1954, a new official attendance record was set in the game between Brazil and Paraguay, after 183,513 spectators entered the stadium with a ticket and 194,603 in ๊fiÂu. In 1963, stadium authorities replaced the square goalposts with round ones, but it was still 2 years before the stadium would be fully completed. In 1965, 17 years after construction began, the stadium was finally finished. In September 1966, upon the death of Mário Rodrigues Filho, the Brazilian journalist, columnist, sports figure, and prominent campaigner who was largely responsible for the stadium originally being built,
The administrators of the stadium renamed the stadium after him, Estádio Jornalista Mário Filho. However, the nickname of Maracanã has continued to be used as the common referent. In 1969, Pelé scored the 1,000th goal of his career at Maracanã against CR Vasco da Gama in front of 65,157 spectators. In 1989, the stadium hosted the games of the final round of the Copa América. In the same year, Zico scored his final goal for Flamengo at the Maracanã, taking his goal tally at the stadium to 333, a record that still stood as of 2011. An upper stand in the stadium collapsed on 19 July 1992. In the second game of the finals of 1992 Campeonato Brasileiro Série A between Botafogo vs Flamengo, leading to the death of 3 spectators and injuring 50 others. Following the disaster, the stadium's capacity was greatly reduced as it was converted to an all-seater stadium in the late 1990s. Despite this, the ground was classified as a national landmark in 1998, meaning that it could not be demolished. The stadium hosted the first ever FIFA Club World Cup final match between CR Vasco da Gama and Corinthians Paulista, which Corinthians won on penalties. 21st century renovations and 2014 FIFA World Cup. Following its 50th anniversary in 2000, the stadium underwent renovations which would increase its full capacity to around 103,000. After years of planning and 9 months of closure, between 2005 and 2006, the stadium was reopened in January 2007 with an all-seated capacity of 87,000. For the 2014 World Cup and 2016 Olympics and Paralympics, a major reconstruction project was initiated in 2010. The original seating bowl, with a 2-tier configuration, was demolished, giving way to a new 1-tier seating bowl. The original stadium's roof in concrete was removed and replaced with a fiberglass-tensioned membrane coated with polytetrafluoroethylene. The new roof covers 95% of the seats inside the stadium, unlike the former design, where protection was only afforded to some seats in the upper ring and the bleachers above the gate access of each sector. The old boxes, which were installed at a level above the stands for the 2000 FIFA Club World Cup, were dismantled in the reconstruction process. The new seats are colored yellow, blue and white, which combined with the green of the match field, form the Brazilian national colors. In addition, the grayish tone has returned as the main facade color of the stadium. On the 30th of May 2013, a friendly game between Brazil and England scheduled for the 2nd of June was called off by a local judge because of safety concerns related to the stadium. The government of Rio de Janeiro appealed the decision and the game went ahead as originally planned, the final score being a 2-2 draw. This match marked the reopening of the new Maracanã. On the 12th of June 2014, the 2014 FIFA World Cup opened with Brazil defeating Croatia 3-1, but that match was held in São Paulo. The first game of the World Cup to be held in Maracanã was a 2-1 victory by Argentina over Bosnia-Herzegovina on Sunday, the 15th of June 2014. Hosts Brazil ended up never playing a match in the Maracanã during the tournament, as they failed to reach the final after being eliminated in the semi-finals 7-1 by Germany. In the final, Germany defeated Argentina 1-0 in extra time.
Non-football events. International sports competitions in 1980 and 1983. Volleyball matches between Brazil and the USSR played at the ground. The stadium hosted the opening and closing ceremonies of the 15th Pan American Games. The stadium was selected to host the opening ceremony and closing ceremony of the 2016 Summer Olympics and the 2016 Summer Paralympics. It will be the only Summer Olympics ceremonies venue never to have held a single athletics event during its existence. Music to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the stadium. On the 16th of January 1980, Frank Sinatra performed to a crowd of 180,000. Both Tina Turner and Paul McCartney made the Guinness Book of World Records with performances at the stadium. Both concerts, in January 1988 and April 1990, respectively, attracted crowds of over 182,000 people. On the 18th of June 1983, Kiss performed for 137,000 fans at the stadium, which marks the record attendance for the band. This and two other stadium shows in Brazil would be the last time Kiss would perform in the signature makeup until the reunion of the original lineup at their Alive worldwide tour in 1996. Kiss's concert was the first major performance by an international rock band at Maracanã. From 18 to 27 January 1991, the stadium hosted the second edition of Rock in Rio with Prince, Guns N' Roses, George Michael, INXS, a-ha and New Kids on the Block as headliners. Sting, Madonna and the Rolling Stones are the only international pop stars to have played dates at Maracanã on different occasions. Sting opened his Nothing Like the Sun World Tour at the stadium on the 20th of November 1987. Approximately 20 years later, on the 8th of December 2007, he performed there again with the Police. Madonna played the venue on the 6th of November 1993, with the Girlish Show in front of 120,000 people, and then again 15 years later on 14 and the 15th of December 2008, as part of the Sticky and Amp Suite Tour, selling over 107,000 tickets. The 1995 edition of the Hollywood Rock Festival consisted of two concerts by the Rolling Stones at the stadium, on February 2 and 4. The band performed at Maracanã again on February 20, 2016. On the 25th of January 2015, Foo Fighters played a concert at Maracanã Stadium during the Sonic Highways World Tour in front of 45,000 people. It was the first music concert held at the stadium since it was rebuilt. Rush, Backstreet Boys, Pearl Jam and Coldplay also played the venue. Rush's concert in 2002 was documented on the live album and DVD Rush in Rio. Brazilian artists also played at the stadium, like Ivete Sangalo, Sandy and Amp, Jr., Deante de Trono and Roberto Carlos. Miscellaneous. Pope John Paul II celebrated masses at the stadium. The Stadium of the Red Star Belgrade is also popularly called Maracanã. Billy Graham held a massive crusade and preached there in 1960 and in 1974. Tournament results.